Hi guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome old subscribers, welcome new. Good morning. We're heading more and more towards Christmas. I don't know what I'm going to do this Christmas. I'm probably going to be by myself, but I really don't mind because I've got my lovely dog here. And I'm going to get him a Santa Claus outfit and we can double up as a team, can't we, Max? He's my baby. I don't know what I'd do without him. He's my company, he's my friend, and he makes me go outside when I feel terribly awful. So Alexa, what's the time, please?
The time is 11:21 a.m.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke? Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
Here's what I found.
Oh, sorry, we're on YouTube. Right, forget that. I'll do a joke another time. So, basically, we're going back to yesterday. Now, my son was on the television. He's a big lad. He's 6 foot. And he's a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, and a model. And I'm his mum. And he went on a dating show. So you go on a dating show to meet girls. He's a bloke, he wants to meet a girl. Okay. Basically, he's a single lad. I'm his mum, and I've been looking for someone. I was looking for someone. I was on a Facebook dating site. My son uses Tinder. I was using Facebook dating, and I've given up because I cannot find anybody that's sensible and normal, that doesn't take drugs, and even recreational weed use I'm not interested in. It affects your breathing and your lungs, it alters your mind, and I'm not interested in anybody that smokes. My dad got COPD from smoking, and eventually his drink and his smoking killed him. He lived to the ripe old age of 75, and as my mother Jennifer keeps saying to me, God said that humans should live 70 years, which is 70. So my dad lived to 75. My mum also calls people penguins. Penguins. They've got big noses, big beaks. My mum said that to me when I first came down, that people were penguins. They waddle about and waddle behind each other. And my mum said a lot of things that enters into your head, and it can affect you. What people say can affect you. It can affect your mental health as well. So my son was due on a show to be aired yesterday at 7 p.m. Dressed to Impress, and I wrote about that in my diary, watching Dressed to Impress. Okay, I'm going to be completely frank here and honest, whether other people like it or not. So I put the telly on about 6:45 in the evening, and Catchphrase was on. The new Catchphrase, I remember the old Catchphrase with the grey-haired presenter. So Stephen Mulhern was presenting Catchphrase before the show my son was on that appeared. Stephen Mulhern. On the show was Jarvis Cocker, Joe Brand, and the lady I keep talking about, Davina McCall, who's the same age as me. So Davina McCall was on the show. Joe Brand, who is a big lady comedian, and Jarvis Cocker. And the only reason I remember Jarvis Cocker is because he bared his bottom at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was doing a concert or something, and Jarvis Cocker pulled his trousers down and showed his bare bum. That's how I remember Jarvis Cocker, out of the pulp, that sang Love of the Common People, singing about a bloke that met a posh lady. So Jarvis Cocker is out of the group called the Pulp. Now he's gone grey. So you can tell how old a bloke is, and Jarvis Cocker, I believe, is older than me, but his beard is grey and his hair is brown, because he hasn't dyed the beard. He's dyed his hair, but he hasn't dyed his beard. So men walking around with black or brown hair and a grey beard, they've really got grey hair. So he's dyed his hair brown, Jarvis Cocker, but he's got a grey beard. So I was watching that before Dress to Impress came on at 7. At 7 o'clock arrives, I'm sat in my flat, put the programme my son's on, and the girl is introduced. Really pretty girl with tattoos and piercings, and she's 28, and my son's 25, so he would have been her toy boy anyway. So basically, she's a really nice young lady, really nice, and she lives in a camper van, and she's got broccoli as a soft toy in her camper van, and she said she wanted to meet her penguin. Her penguin. Now this is my mum's Jennifer's world. She calls people penguins, rams and ewes. My mum calls my people sheep as well. But my mum once called me a penguin, one of the penguins. So she thinks of me as anybody else, not her daughter. I'm one of the penguins that are outside. So this girl wanted to meet her penguin. I don't use phrases like that. I'm a normal person. I grew up normally. I went to school and I talk normal English. I don't have names for people. I don't call people names. So my mum calls people sheep. A head sheep is a ewe and a ram. And my father Derek, she called the devil, Satan, Lucifer. She called my father the devil. Okay. Now I've lived in a strange world where my mum, while I was down here in 2008 till here I am now, has an adverse effect on my health with what she says, what comes out of her mouth. It's had an adverse effect on me, and it makes me angry when I hear words like penguins, ewes, sheep, the devil, Satan. Who would worship Satan in the first place? It's wrong, isn't it? I was brought up like that. My mum was not like that when I was a little girl. She didn't talk to herself and speak strange bollocks. That happened when I came down in 2008, when some predicament went on up in Gloucestershire. My mum had completely changed into this vicious, calculating, nasty woman that shouted out loud vicious, obscene things and called my father the devil, and I was Priscilla. Because Elvis gets into the mix, and a lot of people like witchcraft and the celebrity industry, and you know, my dad was her Elvis, and I was Priscilla, and I was stealing Elvis away from my mother. See, I was Priscilla. Elvis's wife was Priscilla Presley. So when somebody is chronically mentally ill, which my mum is, she's got chronic schizophrenia, she actually rambles on about her being God's daughter. And God's daughter, if you were God and you were a child of God, you wouldn't do despicable things. You wouldn't do evil things if you were a good, godly person. And I can't help but blame my mum for some of the things that went on in 2008 plus that my dad did to me and she knew about, right? So I continued to watch this show where my son said some of the things that he'd said had been cut out, and my mum calls that editing in and editing out. So they'd edited out a lot of what my son had really said and put the parts in what they wanted to hear. Okay, that's what they do. That's what they do. That's what they do in newspapers. I told my son yesterday, you have a journalist round and you talk, they only put half of what you've said, and some of it isn't true. They take bits out and then they add stuff or they take it away to how they want the article to appear. So that television programme was edited. Quite a lot was taken out and it was all mashed together. I enjoyed watching it. Ryan was in it, a nice coloured guy was in it. It was watchable, it was enjoyable. But you know, if things were taken off, then it wasn't the true story, was it? It wasn't what really happened if bits are taken out. So it wasn't the real thing. Television isn't real. It's not real. They do bits and pieces, stick it together in parts, all as one, but it's not the real thing. It's not the real deal. So yeah, my son's been on telly. I never have. Never been on television. I tried to go on the Jeremy Kyle show to tell my story of sexual abuse, and Jeremy Kyle's show got cut and I never appeared on it. See you later.